What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Dylan Talks Tone. Welcome to the Just Gonna Say It podcast every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope you all are doing very well. This is going to be a fun conversation. Thanks for joining us. These are all ad-free. So the live streams are all ad-free. So do me a favor and use a super chat whenever you like to support the channel. Or you can go to Dylan Talks Tone, buy some stuff. You can support the links in the description. Even if you don't buy anything and you do shop around at some of those stores, it just tells it those places that you watch these videos and that you're interested in their cool stuff. And there's some non-guitar related stuff down there too as well. So yeah, check that stuff out. I appreciate it very much. I will tell you, we have a few cool things going on at Dylan Talks Tone right now. One is, if you've seen the video from yesterday, we're doing a little special with a new product that we have. And so watch that video from yesterday to learn how to get a free one until the end of the month. So that's pretty cool. I should show you too. We're doing, we're doing the whole build your own pickup deal. And of course, some folks are ordering some of that stuff and I've started to make some of it. So here's a tiger stripe pickup cover that we're doing for a set of center punches, which is pretty neato. That's pretty cool looking. So if you can now start to imagine some of those other patterns, and as we do some, we'll go ahead and get cool pictures up there so you can see all that stuff. But super neat, man. Really, really fun stuff to make. And we got a couple new shirts, a new hat. So yeah, pretty awesome. So welcome everybody. Let's talk about this. So if you saw the podcast, saw the thumbnail, as you are aware, if you follow this channel, I'm not afraid to have an opinion about much. I pretty much speak my mind. That's kind of where this podcast came from. Somebody made a comment this morning, actually, on my Facebook, and then a couple other folks have alluded to this in the last few weeks too, or a couple of weeks anyway, that they don't, and this is a really interesting thing. That's why I want to talk about it. And I want to bring you in on the conversation as well. For those of you that are watching it live, especially, and for those of you that are not watching it live or you're listening to it later after we've uploaded it, get in the comments and we'll chat about this some. But some folks have been, I'll just tell you what this one person said, saying that he doesn't like my content as much anymore. It's not as cool as it used to be back in the day when it was all super technical stuff, right? And now every time he turns on YouTube, it's just me ranting about stuff. Which is kind of funny. So, first of all, for those of you that are wondering about that or may have been curious about that yourselves, we haven't changed anything. Mondays are always a technical video, like how this thing works, right? How part of the guitar works, something about guitar, setup, pickups, wiring, that kind of stuff, right? That's what it's on Monday. On Thursdays is our live stream, which is Q&A, and then we have the off-topic hour. And on Tuesdays is this podcast, and that's the only thing we've added. So this is, yes, I wanted a place where I could just hang out and chat with y'all, and that's what Tuesday is for. So the content that really hasn't changed. We just added a day, which is really fun for me. Anyway, I really like doing these. And when you think about it, it makes sense. And this is where I kind of I'm going to preface this, and then I want to get you all involved as well in the conversation. Facebook still exists. Dude, let me tell you, Facebook, I don't even use it for marketing purposes anymore. It's more just to post memes and laugh and have fun and, whatever. Because no matter what you post over there, nobody has a sense of humor on Facebook. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's weird. Anyway, so the funny thing about the guitar, the electric guitar, is the science of it is really simple, right? And so when we make videos for 11 years, we've made 1,500 and something of them now. And of course, this isn't just my channel. This is all of them, right? We know that we're into repeat territory here, right? You know that with any hobby, I come into it with the pocket knife stuff. I come into it with the fountain pen stuff, with watches, with anything, that after you watch 100 videos from different creators, you start to see the same content again because there's only so much you can talk about any one thing, right? And what that made me realize after a period of time, because I was really super gung-ho, well, and I still am, science and technical, right? Because I felt that too many people were allowing their personal opinions to drive what they believed about how a guitar works, which is true. Like, we see this, right? So the whole tone wood thing, finishes, what color your guitar is, I guess, if you're Billy Corgan. So there's a lot of things that, top wrapping, for example, which a lot of these things, top loaded versus string through, people would get in the comments even right now as I'm just mentioning these things and being like, well, this is how it is because this is what I think. And technically they could be wrong. And so that's what we spent the first majority, probably 8 years of our YouTube channel doing, was dispelling those myths. But there's only so many of those, right? And then what happens is you end up in a situation where you have no personality to anything because you're just trying to address myths that are pretty boring. Science is really cool when you're exploring, but when you're just being like, nope, that's wrong, it's boring and it becomes very negative and dumb. I'm just not into it. And then the other factor is that no matter how factual you end up being, people don't want to believe it. And we don't need to get into a big, sociology course here, but that no matter how true something is, and you can prove it a million different ways, people still won't believe it because they want to believe what they want to believe. So what I started doing in this content was I started just, all right, well, I'm going to just tell you how I feel about stuff. Because what I realized is if you spend too much time on the technical stuff, you lose the fun in playing the instrument. It's playing guitar. I stole that from John Mayer, but it's called playing guitar for a reason. We're actually having fun. We're enjoying it, right? This is art, right? So I think it's really, really important that, unless you're some kind of know-it-all who wants to be right all the time in the comments, because we get a ton of those, that you should be allowing, this is my opinion, but you should be allowing personal opinion and feelings and emotions to drive your guitar purchases, and they are tools for art. So no matter what the truth is scientifically, if you don't connect with that instrument, don't buy it. Buy the thing that you love. Somebody in the comments last week after I did my whole thing and we were talking about, they're like, I don't know how you can not have a reason for something and still buy it. Something shouldn't just be cool. Oh, because I was talking about things are just cool because they're cool. Well, if there's no reason, then I don't understand that. And I'm like, well, all right, Mr. Spock, you must be fun at parties because this is art. These are tools for art. They're expressions of our personality. They are expressions of how we make our art. And so if you spend too much time on the technical side and don't allow cool things to be cool, then you just lose me, right? And I was losing myself in it. And so I've been encouraging that with this channel lately. And so what we're going to do today is kind of fun, is we're going to discuss it. Okay, so one more thing. If we're going to have an opinion, though, I believe that you should be able to defend it if called upon to do so. Now, I have opinions about stuff that I'm not going to share with you today because they're mine and they're for me and they don't have anything to do with you. They're not your business. However, if you are called upon, if you have an opinion that you readily express and someone challenges you on it and you are called upon to support that, then you should be able to do so, right? And defend your position, right? So here's what we're going to do today. Off topic or on, I don't care what. No politics, no religion. That's the rules. Feel free to challenge me on anything in the comments. No politics, no religion. And let's talk about some stuff. And guitar. Let's talk about guitar stuff. Let's talk about non-guitar stuff. I don't care. And let me know how you feel about this. I guess my question to you would be, how much do you allow? Let's do this. 60-40, 70-30, right? Okay. So that'd be an easy way to express it in a comment in the chat or below. 60-40, 70-30, 50-50. What is the ratio, okay, of technical first number, emotion, love, joy of playing second number that drives you to make a purchase decision, right? So on the first side, we've got, well, this fretboard radius, this blah, 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 where it's made, all this kind of stuff. Well, where it's made could be emotional too. So not where it's made, but the actual technical specs of the guitar and how it's made and what it does. Okay. First number. Second number, it's cool. I like the color. I like the body shape. It feels good. I like the finish. I like that my favorite rock and roll guy has it, right? It's inspiring me to play because, right? All the non-quantifiable reasons that don't have a dollar amount, attached to them. They don't have a technical spec attached to them. That's the second number, right? So when we talk about a Gibson versus an Epiphone, okay, there are many technical differences between those guitars. Why I choose a Gibson is mostly emotional. I love the way it feels. I love the way they sound. I love the way they feel. I don't care that they cost. All right. We have a family group chat that's driving me insane. My watch is going crazy. Now it's on my phone. Hang on. We need to silence everything. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I think it's really important to think about those things and allow ourselves to have opinions. And as an extension of that, that's why you see it in our content that we make now, because I think it's important to talk about how things make you feel, how the guitar makes you feel. I love it because it's cool. I buy stuff because it's cool, right? There is no real rational reason to buy any luxury item. And don't get it twisted. Every guitar is a luxury item. You do not need it. You don't need these. This is not sustenance. This does not feed you. Well, okay. So if you play music for a living, I guess, but for the most of us who are playing in our bedrooms, who are not doing it for a living, like whatever, I'll even put myself in that category on the playing side. Now, obviously I buy guitars for work because it's my job, but when I'm talking about my Les Paul over here, I didn't buy that because I had to have it for some specific whatever, right? Like I didn't need it for some specific tone for some gig. I bought it because I wanted it, right? So yeah, get in there and let's challenge some opinions, shall we? Let's see real quick. And we'll talk about them. And we'll talk about yours too. I think it's really, really cool to think about this. I'm going to scroll back here and see if I missed any questions. Are they saying they miss the Mythbuster type content or just complaining to complain? I don't know. It's okay. It doesn't matter. If they are complaining to complain, that's cool too. I'll take the comment because comments are interaction. Doesn't matter to me. Yeah. And the thing is, there's only, how many myths are there about guitars? There's not that many. Okay. And you could say there's a lot, but I have 1,500 videos. So it's not sustainable. Let's say it's not sustainable for me to do this for another 10 years and talk about guitar myths. It's not. You'd be beating a dead horse so many times, right? Flat earthers still exist and use satellite communications. Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Keep on rolling down here. 7075. I love that. Will you ever consider building a velvet hammer type pickup? Probably not. 2080. So he's honest with himself. Kind of technical. Needs to be right, but mostly cool. 3070 probably. Killer. Love this. This is great. 7030 the opposite. Wow. Okay. Okay. Let's see. 595. This is an interesting one. The number is if I already have a relatively identical guitar already. Okay. 50-50. All right. Yep. My OCD always has me looking for the best made guitar, and yet I keep on reaching for my pink Squire with the Hello Kitty sticker. Isn't that funny? So exactly. So yeah, there's better guitars than that technically, but you like it. So it's cool. Yeah, that's all that matters. After I decide I need to purchase the type of guitar, then the numbers come in 3070. Oh, okay. So that's an interesting one. So technically you need to make a decision first, right? That makes sense. Is it going to be let's zoom all the way out. Okay. Acoustic or electric? Okay. I want it to be electric. Okay. So that's a technical. Is it going to be a 6-string or a bass? Okay. It's going to be a 6-string. Okay. That's a technical. I want 2 humbuckers. I'd like it to have 2 volumes and 2 tones because I don't have one of those yet. And I want it to be relatively blah, blah, blah. And I don't have this particular, like you narrow it down and those are, so, okay, now I'm narrowed down to, I want an SG. I want a 335 because I don't have a hollow body. Okay. That's, that makes sense, right? Like that makes a lot of sense. You're making a technical decision. And then from there, you're like, I want a blue one. I want a Gibson. I want a Firefly. I want a Heritage. I want a whatever, based on your budget, so then your emotion and your budget and everything kind of comes into play and you make that decision. No, that's really cool. I dig it. Sometimes the less expensive option can have appointments and details we prefer, and that's okay. No, I love it. I agree 100%. Dylan has appealed to the emotional side on his marketing by showing us his puppy. Wait till you see the next subscriber video. I was actually working on that today. 4060. It has to feel right. Otherwise, spec doesn't matter. Right on. 2575. Specs matter if I know I don't care for certain things. So that's interesting. So there's a couple things that really matter and then nothing else matters after that. I get that. 100%. I get that. 20 to 80 because I considered an Ibanez HR with a Floyd and was nothing else worked. Okay, so what you're saying is you changed your mind once you started looking at the technical stuff. No, I dig that. I like this a lot. This is really fun. And somebody was saying something about me using you for market research, and it's not that at all. I think that what I care about, I don't care about it so much on the product sales side. We sell pickups. We will always sell pickups. Like I have no problem saying that. We've been doing it long enough. Our stuff is good enough. It's good enough to hang with anybody. I'm totally confident in that. So selling pickups is not a problem. We will sell them. Where this comes in for me is what makes me want to make a video. What makes me want to come out with a new pickup. So what is it going to be for me? Is it going to be, what's the number for that going to be? Technical versus fun. And I kind of have to flip those backwards. I kind of have to prioritize fun. Otherwise, it doesn't work. If it's not fun for me to do, it won't come out very well. You've seen videos, not very many, because a lot of times, well, Leslie's heard me do it. Like I'll be sitting here working and I'll just be like, oh my God, I can't even shoot this right now. Like 10 takes and I'm like, this sucks. It's not working. I got to stop, rethink everything and make it more fun. And I think that's important. And I think you should too. I think you should allow yourself to have more fun playing guitar. It's not about, the technical specs are cool, but emotion drives it. Emotion drives it. It's an art, right? Let's see. I love this conversation. Fun always absolutely gets prioritized. For me, it does. Buy the guitar that looks and feels good, then modify it to sound good. Dylan can help with that. Yeah, exactly. And that's honestly why the channel has gone this way. That's also why our products have gone this way. You know, we just put zebra stripes on a friggin' humbucker. How cool is that? Right? Nobody's doing this. We're doing it. This is freaking cool. I'm really proud of this. Like, this is really cool. I'm really proud of this. It took let's just say I've wasted a lot of pickup covers. I was actually making a parts order late last week and I was like, holy crap, I'm almost out of pickup covers already. What in the heck? And cause I usually, I order like, I don't know, 50 or 100 of them at a time. And I went through a bunch in a couple of weeks and I was like, holy smokes. I've gone through a ton of these things. And then I went out in the garage and I was working on some stuff today and I have all these test pickup covers sitting there. And I'm like, oh yeah, no wonder. I have one black Cerakote humbucker. You know what? I better hold off on that. I think that one's taken. Never mind. Have you ever heard of DGN guitars from... No, I have not. Yeah, and I know I get knocked a lot for not liking cheap stuff, but I think, they're one of those things is this. I respect anybody who actually wants to play an instrument. I don't care what it is. Actually, I don't even care if it's a guitar. I respect anybody who wants to express art in any way. I think it's really, really cool. And then when you put it out there that you do it, that's even cooler, right? Like if you've got something on Instagram, you put yourself out in the world, that's pretty neat. So I don't care what you play. I think it's awesome. You just have to do it. When I express my opinions, for example, about more interesting instruments to me, it's because that's exactly what it is. The less expensive instruments don't interest me anymore. And I think one of the things we sort of forget is with experience, and this is within anything, right? With experience and knowledge and time comes the ability to recognize the finer nuances of various things. So, right, like some people will drink Folgers and it's totally fine because coffee's coffee. I can't. I cannot. Some people will drive a Toyota Prius for the rest of their life because they get from point A to point B and they need gas mileage and that's it. I am a performance enthusiast And I can feel when a tire goes from a 40 series to a 50 series cross section. I can tell. 2 clicks on a suspension on a dirt bike. I can tell, right? Because I've done it enough to know what it feels like. So when you go from a Harley Benton to an Epiphone and then an Epiphone to a Gibson, yes, there's going to be a lot of people who say you're a snob and you don't, this guitar is just as good as that one. And it may be for you. It may be for many people. That's what it's for. It's to give you, if you like that guitar, it's to give you the feeling of a more premium instrument at a lower price point. That's what it's for. It is to be just as good as for the person who's in that spot. But once you figure out, now I can tell some things. Now I'm learning some stuff. Now I'm like, now I feel the difference between this and this and this and this, right? And what usually happens is you end up being willing to spend more money to get those finer nuances. Unless you're just plain cheap. But if a person's really into the art, no matter what it is, or into the hobby, no matter what it is, they're going to know that this RC car battery that costs twice as much as this other one is better for these various reasons. They're going to know that this pocket knife is better because this blade steel it costs twice as much, but it does work twice as much. And it has this feature and it was made by this person, right? Or the same thing with, I don't know, firearms. Like a Taurus G3C is not the same thing as a Nighthawk 1911. But does everybody know that difference? Can everybody feel that difference? No, not really. But that's okay. That's why it's there, right? The difference in guitars is not to take the variety out of it, because that's what the Jaga crowd does, is they try to, in their own minds, take the reason for the more expensive guitar existing away to justify the fact that all they have is X or Y. So they try to take away the justification for the more expensive guitar. When in reality, what is really happening is that the market is so cool in 2024 that no matter what you're willing to spend, you can get a guitar that's really good. That's really cool, actually. That's better. And it's a more positive way to think. And it's really it's what's real, actually. Because the brands are all putting out things so that everybody can be a part of this community. That's what it is. Instead of trying to, go the other way with it. It's really neat. It's really neat to think about. If you know, you know. Yeah, exactly. If you know, you know. And sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just don't. And guitar players in comment sections don't want to admit that, right? If you think an Epiphone or if you think a Gibson is too expensive, then you don't know. And that's totally okay. You might not be there yet. You might have chosen to never get there, right? There's certain things, I can't think of any off the top of my head. There's certain things that are less expensive and cheap and not as good, but who cares? Because, whatever. It doesn't matter. You don't need the most expensive, coolest thing of everything, right? You don't need the best of everything all the time. I mean, it'd be fun, but I'm trying to think of anything like that. I don't know. I don't have a fancy trash can in my office. I do have one in my kitchen, though. You just don't need the best of everything all the time. We don't all of us all spend all of our money on the best of everything that we own. We prioritize it. So if guitar is not a priority for you, if you have other hobbies that take your priority, or a family or whatever it is, and you're like, you know what? I can't, or I'm not going to invest any more than $8.99 for an Epiphone Les Paul, then at that point you can be like, I really like this thing. This thing is cool. This is for me. This is what I need. And this fills my needs, and I love it, and it's cool, and it's shiny, and it's red, and it's awesome, and I can make myself sound like whatever when I play it through this amp and whatever, and that's really cool. And that's why. That's what we should be doing. I think it's really awesome. Let's see. Sometimes you don't need an Audi. Sometimes you need a Volkswagen Beetle. That's right. Yep. I've got an Audi and I've got an SQ5. And my daughter's got a Volkswagen Taos, which is like the lowest price Volkswagen little wagon thing. And it's amazing. That car is so cool. It's only like $24,000 or something. And it comes with all the stuff. And it's really cool. And she can haul her dog around in it. Yeah. And it's fast enough for her. And yeah, exactly. Bourbon is a good example. There is a difference between well and top shelf. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And the thing is that there's so much personal taste there, right? Like sometimes the fact is that people just don't know, right? Like they just don't understand that, you know, the normal Jack Daniels for $20 a bottle is not the same as Jefferson's Ocean or, you know, I don't know. Can't think of anything. Pierce, you know, anything like that. Blanton's, any of that stuff. Yeah. The mark of a good guitar for me, especially when I'm gigging, is that I don't think about it when I'm playing. I just play. That is the coolest thing, dude. And that is so true. And when you have a setup that that's where the fun is. That's where the fun is, man. It really is. And I think there are technical things we could do. So like, for example, let's break into that. So we could take an Epiphone and we could get there. We could make it more fun by putting new pickups in it, right? Maybe a coil split with some center punches, for example, or we could, whatever. We could throw new pickups in it. We could explore string gauges, right? Get some good strings on it that we really like and make sure the setup is really good, right? And then that guitar is like, then you can get there. You can get to that spot and you're like, oh, dang, this is super fun. And it's not an expensive guitar. And you can get there with anything. So it doesn't really matter. So the technical side of it, to me, is a lot simpler than I think people make it out to. And I've talked about this many times, but when you look at a guitar that's mechanically well set up, I don't care what it's made of. Okay? Doesn't matter. So you could take 99% of everything that people argue about on the internet and just completely throw it away. And you could come down to, is the guitar setup right for you, your hands, and what you're playing, the kind of music that you're playing? Do the pickups, pots, and caps get you the bass tone for you to build your tone on? Now, it doesn't have to get you 100% there, but it can get you. That's the way I view what we make. I'm not looking for, oh, this is a metal pickup, this is a blues pickup, this is a jazz pickup, this is a folk pickup only on Wednesdays, this is a reggae pickup only on Saturdays. Like I'm not into that, granularity. I'm trying to get you something that works really well, gives you a palette to work from, and then you can build on top of it, right? So, great setup, mechanically sound setup. I don't care what the guitar is made of. Do your pickups, your pots and caps get you that bass tone that you're looking for? Give you a starting point. And then from there, for me, it's the amp. Then what amp do I want to use in conjunction with that? And I don't typically I'm not a micromanager of amp. Okay. So either it's going to be a Fender, a Marshall, an AC, a Vox AC30, or some variant there. Then you can kind of drill in and be like, well, I want a hot rodded Marshall. Well, do I want a Bassman? Do I want a Princeton? Do I want a whatever? Right. But for the most part, that's pretty easy. And the fun thing is now is for $599, $499, $799, under $1,000, you can get a Kemper or any number of little things that fits on your pedal board that get you 1,000,000 amps. So it doesn't matter anymore. Like it used to matter. Like when all you could do is go spend $2,000, because that's what they're coming to. Like a good real tube amp is pushing $2,000. Well, some of the Fender stuff may be a little bit less, but really it's really dumb. Actually, I get why. I do get why. But now you don't have to do that. Now you can have them all in one box, and you can have a bassist to play with and just start playing. I think a mechanically sound guitar that's set up well with the strings that you want, with the pickups in it, pots and caps that get you to the basic setup that you're looking for, the basic palette, and you're golden. And any one of those better modeling amp things. And I think at that point, unless you are, so here's an interesting thing too. Unless you are a Jaga guy who is like, I know people who are literally like, I got this for a good deal and I'm going to tell you every time, right? Like, I don't care how much what you got costs. I don't. And I really don't care that you're really cheap and going about getting it. I really don't care at all. I don't want to hear about it. Well, everybody else spent this much money and I got mine for blah, 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 because I called this guy and then like I talked to him for like 15 minutes and I asked him for a deal and I talked him down, and I don't want to hear about it because I'm not that guy and I hate that. So get whatever you're going to get. I don't care how you get it. But unless you're that guy, I think you can not be a Jaga guy. I think you can be somebody who wants premium stuff, and you can get all the things we just said for reasonable amounts of money in 2024. I think you can go and get a Mexican Strat or Mexican Tele, put new pickups in it, buy a Tonex, buy a Kemper Player, because they're under $1,000. You could buy I don't know. There's any number of those. Don't get that cheap garbage. That new Quad Cortex thing's pretty cool. It's not real expensive. So you could have really premium stuff for not a lot of money. I think genuinely premium stuff. Or if you really want the real thing, then you could go buy a Les Paul, or you could go buy an American Fender, or you could go buy a real PRS, right? Like, either an S2 or a CE or some kind of higher end core thing, or a Gibson. And now you don't have to spend $1 million on pedals and amps and stuff because you can get it in a box. That's what's really fun about all this. You can sound so good and not have to buy all the pieces. I think it's really neat. Let's see. I just purchased a PRS SE McCarty. It's just working for me right now. I might change the pickups. That would be my move too. I would put DAFs in that. That's what I've found with that guitar as well. They're just kind of flat, but that guitar is really good. So this is another example. So a PRS guy, you get an SE McCarty for the $800, right? You put a set of DAFs in it. and then you get a Tonex or a Kemper player. Those are kind of different price points, and then dang, you have a thing, man. You have a thing. Or a line 6, right? Helix Stomp, $500, something like that. And you really have a thing. That's like that's nothing to sniff at, right? Like that's killer stuff. And you don't have to be that. Yeah, but this is just as good as that and blah, blah, blah. But pedals are pretty to look at, and you have the tactile experience. Best compromises, so I'm with you on the pedal thing. It's fun. But I think, so here's an interesting perspective on that, Victoria. And because I've been thinking about this. I like what you're saying. I'm with you. So here's how I would do it. And here's how I do it, actually. 1 amp that I use pedals with. And then I have my Kemper player. Okay? What happens is the Kemper player makes it to where I can have a good bass tone with any amp I want, with any guitar I want. Then the pedals actually become enjoyable and experimental and fun and playing, like goofing around. Because then it's not like I'm trying to find, there's certain groups on Facebook that I'm looking for this particular sound and I'm trying to get there and what are the settings and blah, blah, blah. And they've gone through 7 different overdrives to get this particular sound. And they spend a lot of money and they waste a lot of time, right? So to me, the middle ground for me would be to have an amp and have pedals that then are toys. Then it's like, then you can chase that tone. You can play around with that stuff. You can have that experimentation with it. But I will fall back on my Kemper for my bass line for everything. Now I have a little different situation because I'm testing stuff. And so I need that bass line. But that's fun. I think that's fun. I like that a lot. I don't know, but I don't mind poly finishes, and I can't really tell the difference. Well, see, there you go. And what's cool about that, and this is another kind of perspective change that I wish people would take, is instead of being a just as good as guy on that stuff, look at it as, well, you saved yourself some money. If you don't care about it, then you save yourself some money. That's cool. I dig it. Oh my God, I know those people. And if you try 7 pedals and 5 amps and still can't find a tone, it's a you problem, not a gear problem. No, isn't that funny? That's exactly right. And that's why I'm saying, why not? I don't know. Since I got my first Kemper years ago, because I'm on my 3rd one, I completely changed how I look at pedals, and how you use them, right? I don't use them because a lot of what they really kind of came out to do was to give you an amp sound that you don't have, right? Either to boost the amp sound that you do have, but a lot of times, like a blues driver, for example, you're really trying to get a Marshall-y sound out of whatever amp you're playing, right? So there are a lot of pedals that are like, I need a different amp sound with the amp that I have. So then you get this amp sound closer. But with a Kemper or some sort of modeler, you don't need that. You can just go, okay, now I have an overdriven Marshall. Now I have an overdriven Fender. And then all the pedals after that just become flavors and fun. It just completely changes how I look at pedals now. And we have a super chat from Slick Nick. Thank you so much, sir. Dylan, what's your opinion on the Spark Mini? Get one now. I thank you for the super chat, sir. I am big time fan of the Spark Mini. Mine's right there. I use it all the time. I had a Patreon member's Spark 2, the big new one here, and it was cool. It's good. It's way better than the first one, but I wouldn't use it. I like the Spark Mini. Now, here's the thing with all these practice amps. That's what they are. They sound small. They are small. Right? It ain't a Marshall stack underneath your coffee table. Okay? So as long as you know that, and you're okay with it, like, yeah, it's a little baby amp, but it sounds pretty dang good. To me, they do the best job because they get the little like speakers on an angle and they do all the, that's neat. I can't figure out what this stuff on my hands is. Distracted by it. Yeah, super cool. I love it. I would continue to use it. I just want a nice, simple, reliable rig that I don't have to learn to use a computer to use it. You're going to have to catch up, dude, because not using a computer is going to be pretty hard, I would say, in a couple of years across the board. My opinion of it is, and it's sort of sucky, I was watching some KDH stuff the other day. It's just like anything else. It's information gathering. People really, really want marketing research with their products. And so having an app, because then you have to have an email address and a login, right? So now they're harvesting data. So that's what it is. Not to mention, it's easier to service. And it's easier on the development side to develop software than it is to develop hardware because the cost is lower and it's more scalable. So, to have updates come out that you can buy expansion packs and crap like that, it's a way better business plan than Fender trying to come out with a new tube amp. It's just the way it is. Life is that way now. Thank you for your podcast and your honesty. I appreciate the content. Oh, thanks, man. Dylan, I got a Squier Paranormal Jazzmaster 12. The pickups are too dark. Would your P90 Jazzmaster pickups be bright enough? Yes, they absolutely would. Yep, they absolutely would. I have certain pedals I use for different things. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Spark 2 has revolutionized the love of practice. Yeah, I think the Spark thing in general has. I think those amps in general have really changed. I know they have for me. Because it's ease. It's like, I know it sounds dumb, but like, you don't have to wait for them to warm up. They just turn on and you just play. And you don't have to worry about warming up and cooling down and power cycling and tube age and all that kind of stuff. So you're right. So like, I've got a guitar hanging here and I've got one hanging here. And so this room is my foyer's right there. So my door to my garage is out there. So if we're going somewhere and I've got an extra 5 minutes, it's real easy to just grab a guitar that's hanging here and hit the button and the amp is on. And sometimes I don't even sit down. Sometimes I've just got 30 seconds or a minute or a couple minutes or whatever, just to strum a few chords or whatever. But I can do that, right? And you don't have to worry about power cycling and heat and blah, 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 all that stuff, right? You're right. It's awesome. It has completely revolutionized practice and it makes it to where I play more and I love it. Regarding the DAFs from my SE McCarty, would the DAFs work coil split? Oh, if you're going to do coil split stuff, get the center punches for sure. If you watch the video from yesterday, there's some free stuff going on with that. So check that out. Yep. Cool. Well, you guys, this has been really fun. Thanks for hanging out and talking to me about this stuff. I love it. Absolutely love it. I love just sitting here and chatting and enjoying this type of conversation. Do me a favor and make sure you hit the like and the subscribe button. Make sure you tell your friends about our channel. Make sure you keep watching and go check out Dylan Talks Tone. And the video yesterday, if you watch till the end, there's some free stuff. So there you go. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you tomorrow.